tuning back into the John Williams Show, brought to you in part again by BPUA, Black Paralegals Undergraduates Association, and me, John Williams. Excuse me. So, food for thought. What are you planning on doing when you face your next crisis? Your next up and coming, soon crisis. What are you going to do? Even if you don't consider it as a legit crisis, 911, but just a personal, something that you can deal with yourself. How are you going to handle it? Whether it's one that just come up simultaneously, or whether it's one that creeps up on you, or whether it's one that's been building. What are you going to do and how are you going to handle it? That's food for today. And you already know probably what some of those things are going to be. You already know what those issues are, how they're building up, what they're building up to, and what you may need to do to escape that. Right. With that brings us to what I want to deal with on today. Oh, my shirt. Yeah, this is one of my throwbacks here. It's a little wrinkled though. I don't really know who this person is. You'll see. Yeah, but it's my throwback today. Number 2. I ain't trying to throw up no signs or no hand gestures or nothing like that. So, but anyway, what are we gonna do about the court system and how the court system operates? The court system. So, I'm just really trying to get prepared too while I'm on camera. So thank you. The court system. What are we going to really do about the court system, and the way that it infringes on the rights of Black people all across America, right? So what are we going to do in general about it? So, are we going to, and I'm just trying to get this straight, are we going to allow the near future court system that have wrecked the lives of many, I want to make sure, of many African American male and female, and even also our children with the CPS and with everything that goes along with the court system, with the full scope of the court system. What are we going to do? Now, we're not dealing with those who work inside the court system on all levels of the law. And I'm talking about Black folks in general. We're not dealing with them as dealing with them in the whole. We'll deal with them on another time if we ever do talk about that. But just in general, as a court system, because they have a sworn duty by the court system, but also the court system infringes on them, and there's things out there on YouTube and Facebook and all that, and Twitter and everything and all that, that you can watch and that you can see. Some of those who have been real close, real fond of law and really been active in law, law have turned on them and really showed that it's not colorblind. It's color oriented. It knows what it's doing, and it knows the color that it wants to devour, the chocolate. So, what are we going to do with that particular system that have raped, robbed, that have taken, that have castrated, and that have left us in either the 3 C's, the correctional control, and confinement, in some way, shape, form, or another, either through adjudicated probation or regular probation or felony probation or some type of correctional control, some type of confinement, and some type of handling of control or sub-handling of control or illusion of that type of control, or that control that defines one's uh, future, nature, history, and present. And that's in all subcategories of the law and all subcategories of courts and their procedures and their policies. So, what are we going to really do about it when not only does it shows the injustice, but it gives you also the idea that 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 if you bring up any type of injustice, any type of infringement, any type of any type of law, unconstitutional law that have infringed on your human right, that is going to cost a lot of money to get done. That is, you got to find the right people to do it. That your story don't matter, and that you got a lot of attorney fees and a lot of court fees and a lot of these things that go along with the filing of it to really just discourage you, or if you are already in some type of confinement control or correctional control or being placed in that or an, a true bill indictment has been uh, passed down by a district attorney or a judge or something like that, or a blue warrant or something like that. Um, and you're already in the position to be in confinement or already in that or have already received some type of correction or some type of control or some type of probation or about to, going into all the rest of these new laws that's coming up here, that's going to be passed after September, that's already in play in position, it's even probably being delayed through some Congress people. But the court system now is going to be a system that that you're going to have to deal with, and you're going to need to deal with it as soon as possible. Mike Pence fly come through here. But as soon as possible, you'll have to deal with it, and not deal with it as if it's not a problem or it's temporarily going to fix itself. Really, because the injustice in it and the unfairness in it goes in all directions. It's unfair on a lot of the attorneys, the black attorneys and the black judges who have to play along with the injustice. Which deep down, and you ask yourself, can they sleep at night? No, most of them can't. Most of them, they're gonna have bags under their eyes with looking at the injustice that they're attorneys too. They've been attorneys, they've been DAs, they've been prosecutors, they've been all these other titles within law. They've been in criminology. They've been in psychology. They've done a lot of these different things. You have to have all these things anyway. They've taken a lot of law classes. They've taken many hours of law. They've taken bars and stuff like that. These are things that I'm naming that I ain't never took, but as a paralegal. But still, just as a paralegal, just a lot of these things I know about, and just being under and going through paralegal classes at El Central College. And shouts out to all those colleges out there that's making a difference, and those you black brothers and sisters that are in those colleges making a difference and really using your brain power and your fortitude and what you're getting to make a difference in your community. Shouts out to you for going to school and putting up with what you have to put up with the financial aid and all of the hours that you have to spend in it. I've been through it, and what you have to do, and if you pass or not, and fail or whatever, and all the financial aid that you have to go through if you get it on time, if you didn't, if your classes dropped or whatever you have to go through. You have to go through financial aid and talk to those people and call down. I had to call down the Greenville a lot and get them to waive a whole lot of stuff so I could stay in classes. If your GPA drops and all these other kind of things, and if you had to drop a class because of life and stuff going on, that Mike Pence fly going through it again. But because I'm dropping it. But there he is. I'm about to get him. So Shouts out to you, and thank you for your courage and for your dutifulness. And see, I see I'm scoping him out. I'm gonna hit him with something. Let me catch him. Let me catch him. I'm gonna hit him with something. I'm gonna hit him with my book, dog. Fly you on my book. The fly. Super fly. Um, Again, thank you. I've been through it. You've gone through it. You know what it is. I just didn't get a chance to graduate. That's why BPUS, Black Paralegals Undergraduate Association, or Basement Paralegals Undergraduate Association, because I never got a chance to graduate because of they changed the curriculum for the math. Was just regular algebra, then it went to college algebra, and then some other stuff after college algebra. Just it was high for me, and nothing that I couldn't overcome or can't overcome with the proper study um, and the right tutor and the time to be able to put into it and to spend into it. But anyway, thank you again for your graduation and you being able to get a certificate and going out and doing whatever it is you need to do and want to do. And this particular bug, you can get him. You know what he is. He ain't no fly. But the game in under the crack in the door. You got to be worrying about those things too. They were talking about the West Nile as well, so you got to be worrying about a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out. So anyway, thank you again. So we're going to have to be able to use what we have and the tools that we have. And somewhere we're going to have to use that. We're going to have to band together. Mexico right now is suing a lot of the gun manufacturers for a lot of the killings that they say that happened there over in Mexico. And so their government sued, you know. So somewhere, you know, somebody's got to be held accountable for what has happened to black people in this mass incarceration. Somewhere somebody got to be held accountable. You had presidents, ex-presidents to come out and say things about, you know, the war on drugs and just look things up. That, hey, you know, we passed these bills and this, that, and the other. And I remember the 90s, you know, coming into Longview, I was scared for those brothers in Longview and East Longview. You know, grew up there, you know, they was in the game and, you know, I was like, hey, I seen these Garland cats, you know, for little bitty stuff, get 20 and 60 years, man. You boys got some really serious weight. They gonna shoot y'all right now. You know, you couldn't, you know. So, and I felt for a lot of my Longview brothers, but those brothers were tough out there, man. You know, in Longview in the early 90s, 91. You know, I learned a lot from on the streets out there. Longview zombie now, and the um, police agency and that force really did work a number on Longview. I remember going in and I remember seeing those brothers really stick together though in 1990, 91, just before I moved out and moved back to East Garden before we moved back there. Again, you're just showing the shirt, just showing it number 2. Let me show you again at number 2. But anyway, they will stick together. I saw it. You know, on High Street, you know, police will come out and do whatever. The brothers out there be like, hey, well, you're holding this brother. I remember this brother got jammed up. And they was holding him, like trying to choke him. You know, and brother, hey, you know, he was on him. I was like, yeah, this my knee. He's Garland there. You know, they ain't just letting me step on him. But they suppressed the black community there in Longview. You know, it's nothing like it was. I went down 12th Street, you know, it's on the fire. I'm like, man, Longview in 1991, 12th Street was the stuff. Man, you go to High Street, hit 12, you go to 12 where we stayed at over there off of Timpson. We was Timpson. I remember it was 1509 Timpson, and Oldham Street was behind us. I knew everybody over there, man, and the view. And I remember the Addition. I remember we used to do our little stuff. We were going to sell our little stuff in Addition. I remember, man, Longview with the stuff. In addition, reminded me of Parker Circle in East Garland. Just the train track was a little bit different. The way it came in Longview in addition, the versus Garland. It was behind where the water tower was in East Garland and behind Parker Circle train track. And we used to cross it ain't like that now. They got fences up and everything, buildings and stuff back there now. It ain't like it was in the 80s, going through the 90s. But the addition in Longview was like that. It ain't like that now. It ain't addition in Longview don't look like that now. But I remember Longview. I remember, man, Longview was the stuff. And just the black stare was different too. They were more of a, it wasn't just all together because they were, doing the NWA thing, And there was some East Garland people there too, so that's kind of that East Garland influence. But still, it was a little bit different. It was a little bit slower, but you could get into some trouble real fast. Longview still was popping. Loved it. Nothing like that today. So actually, buses though, they got buses in Longview. I was surprised when I thought, we got buses now. What? Going down MLK, MLK Center, yeah. And they got a new school out there off of MLK, out there. So I was like, I can't think of the name, Birdsong. I think it's out for Birdsong, right out there. Yeah. It's a middle school over here, or elementary, one of them over here now. Okay. And then the buses, I'm like, okay. I don't think they go all over Longview, but I know on that east side, I'm like, okay, buses out there now. Yeah, I think it hit Birdsong, 12th Street, High Street, somewhere up in there, some of the streets I remember a little bit, just not looking at a map, I really actually remember the streets. Yeah, but this is old Longview map school I got in my head, just really like 3 or 4 years ago going back looking at it. This is really zombified. It's especially with the blacks are. The bottoms and all that where they used to, over there off of Pecan Street, off in South Longview. It's totally it's like that still looks the same. Those old frame homes. That's they been there. They was there in the 40s, I believe. Maybe the 30s. That whole area, that sunken area by what's that, Sabine River, back there. I used to stay on Pecan Street. I remember that. I used to stay right there. I'll never forget that. Right there where it dead end. Right there. It don't, because if you go down Pecan Street, that's it. And Johnny Sterling them stayed in that house. That's where we stayed at. I can't think of the people that was up the hill from us, but his grandmother stayed across from there. This was years ago, man. And Don them, I remember them. They stayed but Longview, man. God, I never forget Longview. Never forget it. But anyway, that whole area is by the Sabine River. One good soaking rain, one real serious one, that hill is eventually gonna come, because it's one of them that old gravel hill when it was that soft, when they first started paving roads. I'm talking about when they first started paving roads. That they still got that over there. And still dealing with inflation and with other things that's gonna go down. I remember even then when we would they didn't have light. It would just turn the deal and on the breaker on the they would just turn it a certain amount of cash. Used to know how to do it. We had lights all day. The light people gonna click, turn that big baby back. They know how to do it, man. And I remember these things. There's no more. Longview still got its blacks. They just don't own nothing. They just, to me, and shouts out again, Brother Umar, man, other people, can look at this and sit back. They zombified. I went there and I just could not believe how slow it's no way it should be like that. It's just no way. They in the same place when in 1990. No different. If it's actually passed down, if they owned it and their children there, and I was there, is the ones that's there, they're gonna have to do something soon. Cause their children probably ain't gonna never see it. This thing is still alive. their children probably ain't gonna never see it, man. Which would have been the children behind us, the generation we are. Their children sure won't be able to enjoy, because they finna be in here soon in a predicament that that's gonna either cause them to sell off what's going on, and I don't know why I jumped to the subject there, to sell off what's going on in South Longview and to move into some apartments. They're building a lot of apartments out there too, though. That it never was like that off of Eastman. I remember that. It was not that many apartments out there like that. Man, I didn't even know. Like, I don't know, Eastman. Was it Eastman Road? East System or whatever that is? Um, uh, Nothing like the whole nothing looks the same, because they building like these apartments and stuff like that. All that stuff was just straight land. All that, when you go out to 380 from that, I remember we used to ride the bus to get to the school bus to go to Longview High. All that was land. That the way the bus went coming from Timpson. Sometimes we could catch other buses down, like if we went down to MLK down that way. We went down that way and catch that bus. It's gonna go a different way. But the bus that was right come on Timpson and 12th Street, that bus went a certain way, and every way that bus went, nothing but land. It's built all the way. A lot of apartments going out there toward the mall, nothing but apartments out there on 281, I believe. Spur 281, something like that. I think that's it. Built up big time. But not for black folks. You cannot stay out there. I remember you couldn't even stay out there nowhere. I remember we used to have to run to the high school to go to see the football games from East Fort Longview. We just run. You could never get no ride to the game. Barely could get a ride out to the games and to see the Lobos. But it's so built now for the dominant society and other races of people that's coming in, that the South Side is still the same, and it still looks the same, just worse than what it looked like, because that's been what, 90, 2000, that's been 21, 22 years, no, longer than that, 30, 90, 2000, yeah, I forgot 2010, I'm skipping 2010, so that's been that long ago now. In the same spot, with the same pipes, with the same probably roof, with no upgrade at all. That is coming down, and very few people around in that whole area is able to upgrade or sell off and go move in an apartment. And that's what's finna happen. That's finna be a whole bunch of. That's what happened in Chicago. All these other places, making these high-rise places. It's gonna be two. High as they're gonna get here, it's gonna be 3 stories. You know, especially in Longview. I don't believe we're gonna get no 4 or 5 stories. That's a high-rise building in Longview. 3 stories is damn near high-rise building. So you know, and it's building up like that. So again, the court system is gonna have you and I and us, period, to where we're gonna have to address some things, and some serious things, and really get our hands inside of the court system that's done us wrong, and really try to make it pay back for what it's done. Its hand in mass incarceration. Its hand in laws that pertain to keeping black people contained, dominated, and castrated, disenfranchised, and in their prisons and in some type of correctional control, some type of confinement, be it whether it's mental, mainly, or whether it's physical. Another main, but that's mental is half of it, and then physical is the other half, so that's the whole. Whether it's free, or whether it's bound, or whether it's by a monitor, whether it's by a new chip, if that's what they do, um, whether it's by uh, the means of self monitoration under the SORNA for federal crime control. And so the courts is totally behind those type of laws, and any institutions that fund the mentally funded to keep the African American people at its core, the engine that keeps it moving. If those people were to regress and progress in the opposite direction and come out of those confinement in all categories, then you'll see people looking for jobs real fast, because the work is the man that's here that know that they can't get rid of, but to only dominate him in a way that he's obsolete from society and castrated out of society, no part of society, and not needed any longer in it. And his presence is no longer welcome. And he's getting to be no longer, he's, like looking at himself in the mirror. That's what the mirror is, the man in the mirror. He don't like looking at himself in the mirror. He don't like getting up, having to deal with racism and not a part of society. The only thing he can do is spend money and buy stuff, but he ain't got no power. He ain't got no respect. He don't like having to be called out of his name, deal with folks that don't stay in his community, give them all of his money, and then in the end of the day don't got no respect in his own house or in his own community or among his own people and among his own peers. He's in the twilight zone, just as I deal with in my book, the twilight zone. Yeah, he's in the Peter Falk. One more thing, you suspect it, and that's what Columbo. He suspect you already. You're in the twilight zone. You suspect it. Well, I'm about out of time again. Thanks again for tuning in to the John Williams Show. I hope I said something that made you think. This is brought to you by BPUA, Black Paralegals Undergraduate Association, Basement Paralegals Undergraduate Association. Thanks for tuning in, Channel 49 TV. All right, signing out.